Welcome to Southern Sense Talk on Rumble. You are going to love Annie the Radio Chickadee Ubelis and her co-host, C.S. Bennett. You'll find them live here on Fridays from 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Date Time. Check out their website at Southern Sense, as in commonsense.net. It's that easy, southernsense.net. So sit back and relax. They're informative, fun, irreverent, and politically incorrect. You never know where they'll go, but you'll love the journey.
Can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, it must be on your end.
Holy moly. Come on.
There we go.
I was just being finicky. That's all I was doing.
Yeah.
Middle finger.
Hey, you've got bad microphones. I've got bad lighting. It just is what it is.
I was wondering what you were in a cave or something.
You always
You're
say
a cave girl today.
Every time I visit my mother's house, you always say it's either a cave or the crypt. They do keep it dim in here. The lights are on. The overhead's on. The window's open. I don't know.
We'll keep you in the shadows. Okay, no worries.
I'm lurking.
Yeah. Well, anyway, folks, this is the start of Southern Sense Talk. I'm the hostess with the least mostest, Annie Ubelis, with my co-host Hannah Davis of FAIR, the Investigations Immigration Manager at Federation for American Immigration Reform, US.org.
Say that 5 times fast.
No. I think once is enough. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, we got ourselves an exciting show. There's two gentlemen are going to be joining us at the same time. Robert Tosh Plumlee. He's a former CIA pilot, and he was in Delaney Square when Kennedy was shot. And he's got a lot of things to tell us, like his connection to the CIA. Oh, yeah. They both wrote a book back in 2013 with Ralph Pezzullo called Deep Cover, Shallow Graves. But Mr. Plumlee has been also working with the JFK assassination website. There's a lot of stuff that's being uncovered. But don't forget that Biden refused to release the Kennedy documents. He said, no, they're going to stay secret forever.
He released migrants, but he wouldn't release the documents.
Yeah. So we got two great guests coming on. There's a lot to talk about, a lot that's going on. We had the primaries going on this week, and California's primary ended like 2 days ago or something like that. And they say they're not going to have the full results for 35 days. 35 days to count a primary, when the least attended elections possible, but it's going to take more time to count the ballots than it does for a presidential election.
Sounds like fraud.
Go figure on this one.
California is the same state where a woman was able to successfully register her dog to vote. So I'll just leave it.
Wasn't California also where the woman married the tree?
I don't know. I've heard about the man who married his car, but I don't know about the tree. Love is love, Annie.
Whatever floats the boat. Oh, man. Like I said, there's so much going on, so much to talk to. But there is a somber note, because we're going to do the dedication a little ahead of time, and then we'll roll into the rest of the show. Tomorrow is the 84th anniversary of D-Day. And I put together a bunch of clips for that dedication. So I'm going to play that and let people sit back and remember. The song is not going to be from Tiffany. It's going to be from another gentleman who I've had on the show with his music. And then I sent her a message saying I put his music onto this clip. And I asked him, do you want to come back on? So hopefully we'll have the musician who did the ending piece join us in the near future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that said, I'm trying to get this off. How do I get this off? Well, I'm just going to leave it on anyway. Well, here is the dedication.
That speech was arguably the largest mass prayer in human history. 100 million Americans listened.
Church bells rang, and everybody went to churches and synagogues. The impulse to pray was overwhelming.
By noon on June 6, 1944, even defenses around Omaha Beach, bloody Omaha Beach, will start to break. And now what we have is the invasion is a success. Franklin Delano Roosevelt's prayer, it speaks volumes. He's responsible for speaking for all freedom-loving people. What Operation Overlord stands for, it's hope. Liberty's not just this ethereal idea. Liberty is coming.
Almighty God, our sons, pride of our nation, this day have set upon a mighty endeavor, a struggle to preserve our republic, our religion, and our civilization, and to set free a suffering humanity. Lead them straight and true. Give strength to their arms, stoutness to their hearts, steadfastness in their faith. They will need thy blessing. Their road will be long and hard. For the enemy is strong. He may hurl back our forces. Success may not come with rushing speed, but we shall return again and again.
This weekend will mark 82 years since D-Day, the largest seaborne assault in military history. And we were there on the 80th anniversary to meet with some of the precious few D-Day veterans still well enough to return. But those trips continue this weekend. The Best Defense Foundation, with help from Delta, has flown 25 veterans back to Normandy. Arthur Rose is one of them. Now 107, he was 25 and a lieutenant in the Navy on D-Day, overseeing 36 landing craft packed with supplies to help the Army hold the beaches. And hold the beaches they did. What a country we are, he told his family in a letter afterwards. And speaking once again from France, he told us that's still how he feels.
I love America. I think it's the savior of the world.
When you cover the day's news as we do, you can sometimes lose perspective on the decades. But Arthur Rose hasn't. Born at a time when women couldn't vote, the Army he served in was segregated, and phones came with a hand crank. He tells us he's amazed by the way people live today.
I think they're provided with food better than in the past, and certainly with television and radio and cars and all that. Life is certainly much easier and better for all people of the world.
A world that now, 82 years after D-Day, is better and freer than the one that came before, and in no small part because of Arthur's generation.
This Saturday is the 82nd anniversary of D-Day. The Battle of Normandy killed more than 73,000 Americans and other allies who fought against the Nazis. A Chicago woman witnessed that part of World War II as a young girl. NBC5's Patrick Fazio tells us her story.
The Americans, very courageous.
Holocaust survivor Marion Deichmann remembers witnessing D-Day as a young Jewish girl hiding from the Nazis.
So many Americans got killed. And one they were shooting on the beach off these boats.
Normandy, France, where Marion lived with a Catholic family who took her in, had been bombed by the Nazis.
We took a wheelbarrow and we walked 12 kilometers.
11-year-old Marion and her adopted family fled with their remaining possessions to a farm until they were rescued by the Allies.
We loved to see the Americans, yes.
The now 93-year-old remembers escaping Nazi Germany as a 7-year-old with her mother and grandmother.
She was everything. She was a wonderful mother.
2 years after they relocated to Paris, the Nazis took Marion's mother to Auschwitz concentration camp.
And I wanted to go with her. And they said, you're not on the list. When she left, said, Marion, be good. I'll be back.
But she never returned. Marion later learned the Nazis killed her mother along with millions of other Jews.
Hatred is terrible.
Marion has written a book about her story and speaks at the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center to share her life lesson.
Don't ever give up.
Patrick Fazio, NBC5 News.
It's a great lesson and so important that she's sharing that story still all these years later. Still the memories are so fresh, of course.
So clearly, yes. Thank you, Patrick, for that beautiful story.
As the 82nd anniversary of the D-Day invasion approaches, we shine a spotlight on the Virginia Tech program that assures the spectacular examples of bravery and sacrifice will never be forgotten.
And we highlight an Allegheny County native turned Hokie alum, an Army officer who lost his life in the name of freedom. 10 News anchor John Epicello has the story.
The details of history form into a living narrative when you actually visit the sites. Virginia Tech's Corps of Cadets is bringing World War II into sharper focus by visiting Normandy and other key European battlefields. The trip is part of the Global Scholars Program. The benefits are as far-reaching as France's distant shores.
They go through the academic rigor and then they step onto the battlefield. And it's eye-opening for them. For some of them, it's shocking. Some of them, it's a great period of reflection for them. The strategic and operational aspects of what it means to go to war. We also want them to come away with the cultural differences.
2 cohorts of 12 cadets each are making the trip. The first group returned after honoring Virginia Tech alumnus Lieutenant Jimmy Monteith, who died in combat on D-Day. The cadets joined members of his family, retracing his steps and visiting his grave. Monteith was born in Lowmore and raised in Richmond, and was awarded the Medal of Honor for his actions on June 6th.
A life is remembered, and that he is not forgotten, and he is a fixture within our program. From the very beginnings of a new cadet here at Virginia Tech, they are taught about Lieutenant Monteith and the sacrifice that he made on D-Day.
One of the main reasons that the Bedford boys were remembered was because they were just normal men.
The cadets walked the sands of Omaha Beach, where the Bedford boys landed. The connection of that particular band of brothers to Southwest Virginia allows the next generation to understand the weight of their sacrifice.
It's kind of a connection, you know, being from the same area, living in a similar area. It was impactful.
The human toll that 5-mile stretch of beach cost the United States 82 years ago is well documented. It continues to serve as a stark reminder of the price of freedom. 250 years and counting. John Epicello, 10 News, working for you.
American strong. We the light of the world, yeah. American strong. Strive to the vision. Love is our mission. We know this song just become as one, 'cause we're American strong. We know this song just become as one, 'cause we're American strong. Yes, we are one color, black, white, red, brown, yes, my brother. When life gets tougher, we gotta learn to love one another. Come together as one, let your life shine brighter like the sun. New life has just begun, one for all and all for one. Yes, I'm proud to be American, yeah. Because American is who I am, yeah. Land of the brave, home of the free. It all begins with you and me, under one God, unity. We all breathe it, now let's all sing. We wrote this song just become as one, 'cause we're American strong. Yeah. We wrote this song just become as one, 'cause we're American strong. We honor those who gave their life to protect our freedoms and all of our rights. We have to keep our integrity, to put God back in so we can have liberty. So no more judging, just loving, no more pushing, lots and lots of hugging, lots of love. So let's all grow in harmony, that America can walk in its full glory. We wrote this song to come as one, we're American strong. Everybody sing along. We wrote this song just become as one, 'cause we're American strong. We wrote this song just become as one, 'cause we're American strong. American strong. American strong.
I'm an all-American. We built strong in all McCanns. Land of the free, no matter skin. Love you for real and I pretend. We done light of the world, yeah. Every man, woman, boy, and girl, yeah. We here to start the division. Spreading love is our mission.
We are American strong. We are American strong. We are American strong. We are American strong. Yes, we are.
Come on.
We wrote this song just become as one, 'cause we're American strong. We wrote this song just become as one, 'cause we're American strong. We wrote this song just become as one, 'cause we're American strong. We wrote this song just become as one, 'cause we're American strong.
All right. Hello. Oh, there we go. This is doing it all on its own.
We look like the Brady Bunch for a second.
I mean, I don't know what the heck is going on here. It's just like it keeps on switching everything around on me. It's got a mind of its own. Oh, geez. I guess I need a professional producer to help with this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they're extremely cheap.
Yeah, just a bottle of scotch here and there.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, today's show is dedicated to the veterans of D-Day as well as World War II. D-Day, which happened 84 years ago tomorrow, the 73,000 men that perished on Omaha Beach, Utah Beach, Cotentin Peninsula, Sword, Juneau, Gold, these famous beaches that took so many lives to preserve the freedom of
And what's
everyone
wild
else.
is that it wasn't even that long ago. If you think about it, what was happening. Absolutely insane. You know, I wrote a report recently. It's in the editing process right now on how, you know, recently we've compared people who are pro-immigration enforcement to fascist. And it doesn't take that much strength to stand up and go and look at a history book and flip back a few decades to see what true fascism really was and see how many people have actually lost their lives to true fascism. So the comparison is just completely inauthentic and inaccurate. And so I think on days like this and, you know, special memorial holidays like tomorrow, that we should sit down and really and think about the divisive things that we say and open up a book and read it if we truly, you know, we need to get back in tune with what is right and what is wrong. And that old man in that clip and good job with putting all the clips together. That was great coverage. I mean, him even just describing how proud he is to still be American. And I wonder what he thinks of the current polarization. That'd be something interesting to hear him speak about. But yeah, over 70,000 people lost their lives in one day, and that's absolutely insane.
We don't have a lot of World War II veterans left alive today.
Yeah.
My mother was 10 years old when D-Day occurred. So July 4th, she turns 94. And you think about that, she has seen over 1/3 of our nation's history.
That's insane.
Over 1/3.
Wow.
She's lived it. Her eldest brother wanted to join the military and fight in World War II, but they gave him a polio vaccine and gave him and his best friend a polio vaccine. His best friend died from polio, and he was paralyzed from polio. He didn't have full use of one side.
I've never
But
met
you know what
anyone
they said?
else that knew someone with polio. My grandmother had polio.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But can you imagine the patriotism he felt, even though he had polio? He wanted to drive ambulances. He says, I got one good side. I can still drive. He wanted to serve in any way possible. That's an American.
They don't make men like that anymore.
Well, they do, just that we have them hidden right now. We got to bring them back out into the forefront.
Yeah, they're shamed for their views and their patriotism. So yeah, we've got to stop shaming people and start joining as one. We can be divided on our policies and how we implement things, but we should never be divided in the fact that we are the best nation in the world and we are all Americans. And that is something we need to remember, not just on D-Day or, the September 11th. We need to always remember that.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. He's passed away now, Lloyd Marcus. Excellent singer, songwriter. But what a blessed American he was. He used to do the tours with Tea Party Patriots and Tea Party Express. And his dancing on the stage was just phenomenal. And he had so much energy and enthusiasm. But he would say, I'm not a Black American. I'm an unhyphenated American. And that's what we got to get back to. We are unhyphenated Americans. Americans first and foremost. But what is an American? We were founded upon the principle in the Declaration of Independence that set it forth to lead to the Constitution that it's for life, liberty, and the pursuit, not the guarantee, but the pursuit of happiness.
Got to work for it.
So you get to live your life however it is, but you can't interfere with someone else's because of your lifestyle.
Your rights end where mine begin.
Yeah, exactly. You live your life, let me live mine, and we'll be friends in between. That's what an American is. We don't care who you are, if you're male, female, black, white, purple, orange. I don't care.
Yeah.
But as long as you believe in the same things, that this is the greatest country in the world. Yes, we've had problems along the way, but the beauty about it that no other nation is able to do is to change.
Yeah.
We can control and can correct those wrongs.
We're
and
evolving
bring good
daily.
out of it.
We're young. We're a young country. We've got plenty of time to prove ourselves and correct our wrongs. So, yeah, I thought the what's it called that you do the clips? What are they called again?
You got me going.
No, you used a specific word. The dedication. I thought the dedication was good.
Okay, you had me going.
Yeah, I was like, what's that word?
The brain part.
Yeah, I don't have many of those, but I've noticed they're upticking as I hit 30. They're quite frequent now. So yeah, the dedication was a good one, Annie. You should be proud of that one.
Oh, thank you. One of the things that was mentioned in the dedication, and I pulled this up to get people to be aware of it, it's the Best Defense Foundation. And what they do is they started off with World War II veterans, and they branched out to anyone that has served. And for them, they would honor these veterans. They're still flying, as you heard in the clip this weekend, they're bringing them over to Normandy, the World War II veterans. They've been doing this year after year after year. And they not only
surprised that they would want to go back. It always kind of throws me. I feel like, there's a lot of trauma in that area, but
it's also hallowed ground where their buddies fell. What better way?
It's healing
to honor
in a sense. Yeah.
So they do the battlefield return, and then they also do a stronghold transition, which is a week-long in-person program, not a retreat. It creates a trusted, enduring team space where teeth in backwards. Special Operation Forces operators, professional athletes, come together with leading experts and physicians to forge bonds, deepen understanding around injury, identity, and purpose, reinforcing that we are not broken and we are not alone. That's a very powerful statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the education initiative that they bring history to these students. And as I said, going to Normandy with these veterans. And as we age as a nation, what do we have following World War II? Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraqi freedom. We have military men and women that are hurting from their injuries mentally and physically. And there are groups like this.
Yeah.
Like the Best Defense Foundation, that people can go bestdefensefoundation.org. You can make a donation to their organization to help our veterans. You know, I think it's important. It is important. But anyway, excuse me. I was trying to collect all my notes before coming on air. That's why you saw me all over the place in my office in the green room.
You should have seen me right before I came on. I was writing for a report I'm doing. Computer like updated and crap. I can't get that. I wrote like maybe 2 pages more and it's all gone. And so I was frustrated as well.
No.
And there's nothing I can do about it. So it's just like.
Funny thing is that I've always handwritten notes, so that if I do lose something on the computer, I can try to recreate it.
Yeah, I might go to Google Suites and start typing in Google Docs because it automatically saves with every keystroke. Because Word is not it. This is the second time this has happened to me, and it drives me up a wall.
Check your recycle bin if it got automatically deleted.
I checked my recovered documents and unsaved documents, but it's like error, can't open, and I'm like, I want to throw my keyboard out the wall at the wall. So it is what it. At least it wasn't like 50 pages. It was only a couple pages in, but still, it's good stuff, you know. So
yeah. Well, you do produce great investigations.
Only
and
so much brilliance I have, and I had a little bit on paper, and it's gone. So we both had a rough start to the show. That's all.
Yeah. Well, just before we came on air, the U.S. Senate backed the passing of the $70 billion new funds for ICE and Border Patrol. That's big.
They need it. Yeah, they need the money.
And it'll fund them through the rest of Trump's term.
Yes. Yeah, and I think people think that this money, you know, we see a lot of the commercials and the stuff. We're saying, you know, that we don't have enough ICE agents, we don't have enough CBP agents, and that's true. And so I think I've seen some criticism about the amount of money they're receiving and what is this going towards, and it's going towards retention. You know, not just recruitment. I mean, we've got to be able to retain the individuals that already work for the agency. I can imagine putting on my boots and holstering my weapon every day, going to work for an agency that society is so against. We've got the news media so against these agents. We've got people protesting these agents like we're seeing in New Jersey right now, up in Newark at that detention center. It's just constant. And so they need the money for retention, for recruitment, and of course for the mission, you know, for detention and removal proceedings. They need all of that money. And it's honestly, if you think about how large their mission is and how overstretched these workers are, it's a drop in the bucket. You know, they're going to have to do more funding in a couple of years. Just, you know, President Trump will be gone in a few years and they'll have to refund again. And so I think, you know, people don't bat an eye when they look at government spending most of the time. You know, they just say, oh, the government spends too much, but they don't really focus in on it. They focus so much on immigration related spending without taking into consideration how much immigrants cost taxpayers if we allow them to remain here in these sanctuary cities. So it's a drop in the bucket compared to what they actually cost.
Oh, but they're doing jobs that Americans don't want to do.
Nah.
But I recall as a kid growing up, you wanted to make some money. You went out and mowed your neighbor's lawn. You helped them with the trash. You did those things.
Yeah, if you pay Americans a livable wage for those same jobs, you know, then they'll do them. What we're doing right now is a form of indentured servitude where we've got these illegal aliens coming here. They're working under the table with no OSHA regulations, no on-job site training, you know, and this like meager wages that they're being paid, you know, 50 cents on the dollar to do back-breaking labor. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that argument is so backwards because it's like they're proud of the fact that they're paying migrants too few they're paying migrants less money than they deserve in conditions that they shouldn't be working in. It just makes no sense. That argument is so flawed in so many ways.
Yeah, there's so many things that are wrong that people don't understand that, as you said, it is a form of slave labor. So why are we condoning it? You know, do the best thing you can. Help them get back home and return here the correct way so they can earn the proper wages. They can be eligible for the services that we offer. But instead,
and I'm not talking about the migrants.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
You just
there was a delay on your end or my end.
But you were saying that they weren't just talking about just the migrants that were coming in illegally. But what happens is they get here illegally. There's someone on the other end. Hello, puppy.
Yeah.
There's someone on the other end that knows that they're here illegally and then extorts them. And
exactly.
They say, well,
I'm talking.
We know we're going to turn you in unless you do X, Y, Z. So next thing they know, their daughter may be thrown into the sex trade.
Mm-hmm.
They may be intimidated to give them money.
Yeah, and that happens a lot more than I think the media or people want to hear about. And when I'm talking about these people that are akin to indentured servitude, I'm talking about them people who have come over here illegally and are in, our kitchens. They're in our hospitality sectors. They're in the agriculture sector. I'm not talking about people who come here on temporary visas to work in the fields. Those people are doing it the right way. They come here, they produce work, and then they go back home. And that's been a really good relationship, with those migrants and that legal visa pathway for a long time. It benefits the U.S. economy and it benefits them at the same time. But what I'm talking about are those illegal aliens that have come here and they're working under the table. Like I said, in the hospitality sector, we see it a lot, and they're overworked and underpaid and they're working in conditions that are unfair to them. And so that needs to be fixed. They should leave, come back legally, be in a legal job setting. And also those jobs, they should go defunct. At the end of the day, if they're paying people piss poor wages and horrible working conditions, someone needs to look into that and get them up to regs so Americans and lawful permanent residents can take those jobs and be proud of them rather than, not knowing if, they're going to have a pipe fall on their head and not be able to afford the doctor and no one cares because there's no OSHA. It's a mess what these people are doing. And so, yeah, there's got to be a better way to fix it. And yeah, the argument that Americans will take those jobs is a valid one.
Yeah. And we have to go back to vetting people when they do come over because of this illegal migration. I know it's not migration. Migration's between state to state. This is immigration.
Yes.
Illegal immigration. And what they do is because we're so open under the Biden administration, we had so many criminal elements come in. Mm-hmm. We don't know who's here or where they are at. I mean, it's not just those coming from Mexico or South and Central America. You have them coming from Iran, Iraq, India, Pakistan, China.
Mm-hmm.
We have our enemies coming in over our borders, and we don't know what's going to happen the next 5 minutes, where the next terrorist attack is going to happen.
That's true. And you can't believe what the mainstream media, or as you call it, the lamestream media tells you. I mean, I think it's a recent poll indicated that 70% of American citizens are okay with deporting criminal illegal aliens, which means in essence, they're not okay with sanctuary states because sanctuary states and sanctuary cities are essentially just harboring and concealing these illegal aliens and giving them a safe space to commit more crimes on top of their already pre-existing crime of illegal entry. And so, I mean, it's like we see it right now in Maryland, they've doubled down with their new sanctuary state law and it passed. And, it just really begs the question, what are the people in New Jersey right now in front of that detention center? What are they really protesting for? They're protesting for more illegal immigration, protesting for more crime, another Rachel Morin story. People can't go jog now in the state of Maryland and they're still passing more sanctuary legislation. Make it make sense.
Aren't you glad you moved to Tennessee? We think we just lost Hannah again. Anyway, we got one of our two guests in the studio. Let's bring them on. All right. We have with us Ralph Pezzullo. Did I pronounce that correctly? I better have, otherwise my grandmother's going to slap me upside my head.
It's Pezzullo.
Pezzullo. Yes. When I said my grandmother's maiden name Rendina, and she married and became a Della Vecchia.
Ah, okay.
So we
Okay.
have from around Naples and Rome. So
Oh,
that's what I'm
that,
saying.
yeah, my
She's
family's
sitting in
from
heaven,
around Naples.
slapping,
Yeah.
sitting in heaven, slap me on the back of the head. Go, I know, truth's denied. Well, Ralph, it's a pleasure to meet you. You are a multi-New York Times bestseller,
Yes.
and it's amazing the number of books. You've got something like now over 30 that you've written.
Yes, that's correct. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And we were waiting for Robert to show up, Robert Plumlee, which you co-authored a book called Deep Cover, Shallow Graves.
Yes.
But the two of you have been going back and forth about the JFK assassination,
Yes.
which is
Yes.
what AJ and their people kept on sending me over on the JFK. A lot of stuff is being uncovered, despite the fact that Biden didn't release the files.
That's correct. Yes. And Tosh was a CIA contract pilot who, on the day of the assassination, flew in abort team, a Pentagon abort team, to Dallas, and he was present at Dealey Plaza when the president was shot. He witnessed it all.
Man, there's
Yeah.
there's so many theories and everything that went around.
Yes.
I was only 5 years old at the time, and I remember when they were having the funeral, we were watching it on TV. And back in '63, we were one of the few houses with a TV. But I remember I kept on running to the front window. Now we're living in New York, and I kept running to the front window to see if the funeral procession was going past the front of my house. As a kid, it didn't dawn on me. I didn't realize this is happening not inside New York, but I remember just my nose to the window and go, "Mommy, where's the funeral? Where's the funeral? They're not coming
Yeah,
over here."
well, it personally affected everybody. I was a kid too, and it was yeah, devastating. I mean, when I told my parents the news, I heard it on the radio. They didn't believe it. Like, not that can't be true. And I said, I heard it on the radio. You know, so yeah, it was just devastating. It changed everything.
Yeah, and it's funny because at the age of 5, when I was in kindergarten, our kindergarten teacher, her last name was Kennedy. And I don't think a day went past that one of us didn't ask her, "Are you married to our president?" And you know how children are?
Yeah.
She was black. We have a white president. But that's the beauty about kids. And today we look at the education system, and that's one of the things you guys discuss, how the media and education system has warped the way we perceive items of historic importance, like the Kennedy assassination.
Yes, yes, yes. So you know, after the assassination, there wasn't a criminal investigation of the crime. There was a political panel that was formed to sort of set the narrative, which was very important for the incoming president, President Lyndon B. Baines Johnson, and the FBI director, J. Edgar Hoover. They met a few days after the assassination and decided that they had to set the narrative, and that has become the official narrative. It resulted in the Warren Commission report, and that has been the official narrative since then, even though so many holes have been poked in it. And Tosh's testimony, you know, does that as well. It is. He knew Lee Harvey Oswald. He had trained with Lee Harvey Oswald. He knew that Lee Harvey Oswald was an intelligence operative, and the whole idea that he would be the lone assassin of the president was absolutely ridiculous.
You know, some of the things that have been coming to light over the last couple of years, especially when Trump's first term, about the odd angle at which the bullet went through the brain. It's physically impossible. Bullets do not go around corners.
Right. There have been many forensic experts. Dr. David Manick is one of them, who have examined the X-rays of from the autopsy, and what they have found is that President Kennedy was actually hit by 3 bullets. His head was hit by 3 bullets. One of them came from behind, and 2 of them came from the front, and most likely to the south of the triple overpass. And that is actually where Tosh was standing when the assassination took place. He was standing there with another operative, and they experienced bullets flying over their heads and bullets coming from the south knoll parking lot, not the grassy knoll, but on the other side. The forensic analysis supports that. So his book is, anybody who's interested in the Kennedy assassination should read it, because he reveals so much that hasn't been told before.
But what's if this was truly like some kind of inside job? What's the motive? What's the goal at the end of the day for the layman? Because I haven't really dabbled in this, so it's not my wheelhouse. But I am curious to know.
Sure. So basically, what happened is when President Kennedy came into office in 1961, the CIA already had a plan in place to invade Cuba, and this was they were going to invade Cuba using Cuban exiles who did not like Fidel Castro, and they sort of sold this to President Kennedy, saying, it's kind of a surefire plan. We're going to send these exiles into Cuba, land them in Cuba, and then we're going to broadcast it, and the Cuban people are going to rise up. Well, that was the Bay of Pigs operation. The Cubans did not rise up, and it turned out to be kind of a disaster. And President Kennedy blamed the CIA that they were the ones who put the plan in place, and he did take responsibility for its failure. But he also pledged, I'm going to break up the CIA. I don't trust these guys. They give me bad intelligence. And that sort of set in motion a dynamic that kind of led to his assassination. Because what happened after the Bay of Pigs operation was a year later, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And during the Cuban Missile Crisis, Kennedy's top advisors, advised him to go to war with the Soviet Union. They wanted him to bomb Cuba, which would have most likely would have ignited a nuclear exchange with the Soviet Union. President Kennedy thought they were crazy. There was no way he was going to do that. And they were estimating that 10 million Americans would die, but that was sort of acceptable losses to take down the Soviet Union. Immediately after that, he was able to avoid that outcome, and immediately after that, he started conducting back-channel negotiations with Premier Khrushchev of the Soviet Union and of Fidel Castro in Cuba, and so he basically took over the running of foreign policy because he didn't trust his advisors, particularly those in the CIA. Actually, Tosh Plumlee, who is my co-author, he was the pilot who flew JFK's envoy, unofficial envoy, an ABC reporter called Lisa Howard, to Havana to conduct these back-channel negotiations with Fidel Castro. Well, when the CIA and the foreign policy community found out that President Kennedy and his brother were sort of doing these high-level negotiations behind their back, they came to the conclusion that President Kennedy was a threat to the United States, that he was soft on communism and he had to be eliminated. And that's where the plot to assassinate him originated.
Well, there was a lot of inference that there was the mafia also involved in it. Because the mafia had a big hold on Cuba at the time. And to be honest, my husband came here from Cuba back in 1962.
Mm-hmm.
So his family were deeply involved in what was going on between both sides because his father managed a plantation. And he had to walk with a permit from the soldiers and a permit from the other side, Castro's people. So when he went through the line, he had to remember which pocket had which pass in it.
Right. Well, actually, Tosh had a very close relationship, particularly with Johnny Roselli, who was from the Chicago mob. They were running casinos in Havana, making a fortune, had a very close relationship with the CIA. In fact, Tosh tells the story of how he was being paid from chips, casino chips from the Tropicana casino. So that his involvement, he was a cutout, CIA cutout. So everything he did, there were no official records. He was kept absolutely secret what he did, and so they were paid with chips from casinos that they would cash in Havana. And he flew Johnny Roselli like all over the country, hundreds of flights. In fact, Johnny Roselli was one of the people who was on his abort flight to Dallas on the 22nd of November to try to stop the Kennedy assassination. So what happened was that the Pentagon got intelligence that there was a plot to kill the president, and they quickly assembled this team, which consisted of a number of Cuban exiles, CIA officers, including E. Howard Hunt and Johnny Roselli, people from members of the Italian mob. And the idea was that they figured that the teams that were being recruited to kill the president would be from part of these groups. So they assembled a group of mobsters, Cuban exiles, and CIA operatives to be able to identify potential assassins in Dealey Plaza. So actually, Johnny Roselli was helping the Pentagon at that point.
Well, I also remember seeing a documentary just recently that Castro's girlfriend was also turned by the CIA.
Who's that? I'm sorry.
Castro's girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was turned by the CIA. They brought her into New York and everything to wine and dine her and
it worked.
On to her. Well, it worked for a while. Not the whole long time, but it worked for a while.
It's the war between sort of the clandestine war between Cuba and the United States has never ended. It still continues. The Cuban government spends a lot of time trying to infiltrate and place spies in the United States, in our intelligence community. They've caught a number of spies. Ana Montes was working for Defense Intelligence. She was arrested about 20 years ago. This has gone on forever.
I think people are so focused on the Chinese, Chinese spy angle that they kind of put to the wayside the Cuban angle.
That's right.
So
That's
yeah.
Right. And the Cubans work very closely with other enemies of ours, including the Chinese. So they work with Venezuela under the Chavez regime, Maduro regime. They work with the Iranians, and they also work very closely with the Chinese.
Mm.
They're all kind of united in trying to subvert the United States.
Yeah.
Well, it's so insidious because we always look at just one. For some reason, we focus on only one enemy.
Right.
We fail to realize we're on a multi-pronged attack.
That's correct.
Right? From the Chinese infiltrating our education system, especially into the medical and technological labs. We have the Muslim Brotherhood through CARE and other aspects taking over again our universities, also our media systems, especially China. Hello, Hollywood. And then we can't ignore what's going south of the border either. No. By the way, Canada has so many Iranian or Muslims or whatever, just Muslims up there, that we have a war going between Canada and here in the United States now. The birth of our Magna Carta and the idea of British common law, the basis of our laws here, England has gone Muslim. And we can go on, but we are ignoring the multi-pronged attacks on our nation.
Yeah, well, the Chinese call it unrestricted warfare. And in fact, there are two Chinese colonels who wrote the doctrine unrestricted warfare that has been translated into English. You can buy the book on Amazon. And the whole idea of unrestricted warfare is that you don't go nose to nose with your enemy. You try to subvert them from within. So you try to steal their IPO, weaken their national security apparatus, addict their population to drugs, fund movements in the enemy country in the United States that are trying to cause social disruption, including like movements like Black Lives Matter and so on. So, this is a coordinated attack by our enemies, and we are very slow to pick up on how strong this threat is and how coordinated it is.
I think a lot of people fail to see, these inside divisiveness that we have are at its roots, they're professional productions. They're staged as these grassroots movements. People are just, so upset that they have to take it to the streets and protest. But no, they're professional productions and they're riots, regardless of the topic, whether it be, like we're seeing with immigration, we see it a lot. Like you said, Black Lives Matter, professional production.
Yes, a lot of the money was when you trace the money behind these NGOs and these organizations, a lot of it leads back to China and a lot of it leads back to Venezuela. Mm-hmm. Venezuela is basically a country run by a criminal cartel that controls all drug trafficking in the Western Hemisphere. And they also have the largest oil reserves in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. So it's a tremendously wealthy country, and they've been pumping billions of dollars into these different groups, and we are sort of, we don't understand that this is a coordinated attack, and people need to wake up quickly before we're completely overrun. Like fentanyl. Fentanyl is illegal in China, and
but they may call the precursors.
They continue to ship the precursors to labs in Mexico where the fentanyl is created, and they ship it across the border, and it's killing over 100,000 Americans a year.
Mm-hmm. I've always asked this question: are we getting ready for a second crusade? And I think we are. I think we're in the middle of having either you sit down and shut up and let it happen, or you turn around and you defend yourself and defend your beliefs. Tomorrow is the 84th anniversary of D-Day. And I had put together a little montage, and I did have a woman who was a survivor of the Holocaust. And when we look at what happened in World War II, why is this now happening again here in the United States? Yeah. If you're a Christian now, they lump us all together, and Jewish, we are now the enemy. We're the Zionists. But what is wrong with Zionism? Israel is your nation. What is wrong with being proud and protective of your nation? What is wrong with Zionism?
It's become a bad word and used very inaccurately a lot of times. And a lot of the problem is the information that we're getting and who is putting it out. So you cannot trust the mainstream media. They are owned by companies that are not friendly to the United States, not aligned with Christian values. It's an information war that's going on, and so people need to wake up to listen to to seek other forms of information and start to put things together and start to realize what's happening. But we are being undermined.
We are being manipulated. And I always get this guy's name wrong, this American billionaire that's living in China. I'm going to say Singham.
Singham.
Mm-hmm. I know he ends, last three letters of his last name is Ham, H-A-M. That's the only thing I remember. Word association.
Yeah.
But he's actually outspending, I think, George Soros.
Crazy.
And George Soros is at his worst, couldn't even match what this guy is doing.
Yeah. And these so-called philanthropists or NGOs, whatever they are, they are not organic. They are being funded by our foreign enemies, and people need to understand that. So we were told that, like, for example, Black Lives Matter was an organic movement. Well, when you look at it, it wasn't an organic movement. It was funded by people who were trying to undermine the United States. They were
Same
able
with
to
the LA riots last year.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Well,
They're able to,
I actually pulled up the Muslim Brotherhood website a number of years ago, and listed as associations is the Black Lives Matter, Antifa. I mean, these things were started by people that wanted to destroy us from within, and there might as well be succeeding. Look at our beloved New York City.
Yeah.
This is not Giuliani's New York City, I'm telling you that.
But the media continues to package it as some authentic grassroots movement, and it's not. It's either paid through NGO taxpayer funds, or it's Soros backed individuals, or like you said, Annie Singham, who is highly connected and tied to the CCP.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, Giuliani's New York City. Right behind me is a picture of me with Giuliani.
No, it's
and he had hair back then.
It's more deep seated than people realize. I actually have a book, here it is, called Stolen Elections.
I have that to talk to you about on my little list. But Ralph, I'm old fashioned. This is how I do my notes.
Okay. I did the same thing. So it was a 3-year investigation by 2 U.S. whistleblowers, government whistleblowers, that looked into the whole corruption of our voting system, especially electronic voting machines. And the software was invented in Venezuela. It was created by Hugo Chavez to steal elections, manipulate the result of elections. And it's been, it found its way into the United States through companies like Smartmatic and Dominion. And it's being used in all the swing districts in the United States. And we keep trying to call attention to this, and nobody's interested. There's very little interest, and we've got all the documentation. We recruited engineers who work for these companies, who created the source code, who can point out all the back doors into the system and how it's been used. And since 2008, in elections in the United States, we're witnessing it now in LA County, in California. California is run, the LA County, which is the largest county in the country and controls Los Angeles, is all the elections there are run by Smartmatic. People don't know that.
No.
But it's a Venezuelan-owned company that has somehow infiltrated our election system, and we're conducting our elections. We're allowing them to run our elections. The machines the parts that they use in the voting machines are made in China. We know that. They're shipped to Taiwan, where they slap on a made in Taiwan label, so it looks like they're made in Taiwan, but the parts come from China. And then the software is a variation of the same software that was developed in Venezuela in 2004. And it's, they're just very clever. They've spent a lot of money. They've corrupted a lot of local election officials in our country. And nobody's done anything about it so far.
No. Matter of fact, when I started this show about 16 years ago, wow. About maybe 5 years or something into there, I found a clip of an election official testifying in Chicago, and he was explaining exactly how these machines were being manipulated. And that was, it would be about 2015, and they were already in court testifying that these are damaged. But look what they did to our F-35s. Parts were made in China, and as they were flying in air, the pilots were suddenly not getting oxygen, and it was causing a lot of problems. Engines were cracking and things like that with the F-35s because parts were being made in China. And China, once they get their hands on the actual mechanics and program that mechanics, they control that machine.
No, We've been lazy. We have not been rigorous. We have not protected ourselves. Our education system has not kept up with the world. We better smarten up quick, or we're not going to have a country.
And it's not just the election machines. We get our transformers for our power grid from China as well. So, and I think there's been some evidentiary hearings where they talk about tampering with them because they have everything to gain by crashing our grid system. So, yeah, we got to start producing things in the United States.
We do, and part of it has been the greed of American businesses. I have a friend whose family used to do all the print. It was a family business in Kentucky, in a town in Kentucky, and they ran these, big printing presses, and they did all kinds of books and big printing jobs. And about 8 years ago, he moved the whole operation to China. They had means they only had to pay the workers $1 a day, and he was bragging to me we used to play tennis together, and he was telling me about how much money he's making and how modern these machines are in China. And I'm like, what about the town that you grew up in Tennessee, that your family started the business in? And he went, well, it's sad, everybody's out of work, they have big drug problems. I'm like, well, don't you have any loyalty, to those people? I mean, but when everything is dollars and cents, businesses make these decisions for the bottom line, and they don't understand the long-term effect that it's going to have on our country. And we see it. All you have to do is drive across the country, and you see it everywhere. Towns that are, the business has left. It's the manufacturing company has moved to China. And these poor neighborhoods are left to kind of fend for themselves. The education system goes down. Drugs, everybody becomes addicted to drugs. I mean, it's tragic. But we need to, we need to become aware of all this and the effect that it's having, and the inroads that our enemies are making, in our system. And
well, what's the best way to defeat America is take the jobs away. The vast majority of employers are small businesses. They employ more than all the corporations in America put together.
Right.
And yet our government is catering to these large corporations, and to hell with the small guy. So if you get like a large corporation or a data center, don't even get me started on data centers, moving into a small town, all the small businesses disappear. The town disappears. The farmland, the agricultural growth, the livestock, it all disappears. So where are we going to get our food if we no longer have farmland and we have nothing but data centers? Don't get me into how much water we're going to have. You're worried about the icebergs melting? Well, the whole ocean floor is going to go down because they're going to use so much water. We won't even have an ocean anymore. You're going to walk across over to England. I'm telling you that.
And even if we have land, the Chinese all own it now.
They're buying up all our farmland.
All the farmland, suspiciously located next to military bases.
Right, exactly.
Thank you, Nancy Mace.
Exactly. So people need to become aware. They need to get educated about this, to do their own critical thinking, to look into these things and start to put it all together. Because otherwise we're behind right now, and we need to catch up.
Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. The last thing I ever am. But I'm looking at what's going on, and it's starting to become very frightening. We see a lot of these attacks, especially on mass transit systems, going on. We have a whole series of these chemical, what do you call them, storage facilities, having all these fires and spills and everything else. I mean, there was 4 of them within a 2-month period, very close together. That's awfully suspicious. 1, maybe 2, but not 4. So someone's testing us. And then yesterday, it was caught on a store owner's video camera in New York City And there were these three strange men opening up a manhole cover and climbing in the middle of the night. And there was a car they had the clip on Newsmax a little while ago. They had no business in there. What are they going under there for?
Yeah.
Now, I know we have a second society living in the subway system and in the tunnels, the homeless.
Yeah.
But these guys were not homeless.
Yeah.
So they had no business going in where there's a gas line.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Montgomery.
Yeah. Well, you look at on all levels.
I got you speechless. I got the writer speechless.
Yeah, no, I used to live in New York. I was in New York when it was attacked on 9/11. I mean, the fact that 25 years later, we're people of New York elected an Islamist, a guy who wants to do away with Israel. I mean, it's absolutely incredible, and people defend this and they support this. It's like, what the hell is going on? If this isn't a red light, danger light, flashing in our faces, I don't know what is. And
well,
people have been so brainwashed that they think that this is okay.
Yeah, and what gets me really ticked off, and I guess maybe that's why I retired when I did 30 years ago. But I look at the men and women, my friends in blue, they can't do their job. And I remember driving in one morning to go to work, coming down, it used to be called the Interborough, now it's Jackie Robinson. And as you got off in Queens, you had the cemetery, but right nearby was a mosque.
Yeah.
And you would see the men outside the mosque on patrol with rifles slung over their shoulder. Now, New York City has a very tight gun control. But when you see that, you were told, don't touch them.
Yeah.
We have a special compensation for them. They're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But someone to legally carry within New York City, we had to arrest them. Everything is upside down. And like I said, not Giuliani's New York that we worked under.
No.
And I mean, broken glass theory worked.
Yeah.
It actually worked.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No, and we in the name of tolerance and liberal policing policies, and we've allowed so many systems to break down.
Even the court system, this revolving door of justice in these sanctuary jurisdictions. I mean, and the police, they've got their hands tied. If they abide by the federal laws, the immigration statutes that are already on the books, they get in trouble with the sanctuary state. And if they abide by the sanctuary state, they get in trouble with the supremacy clause of the Constitution.
The idea that we have states and communities that are defying the law of the United States. And,
it's wild.
And people openly support this. It's like, what are you doing? We have to have. We're supposed to be a united country with one set of laws that we all agree on, that we all vote on, and some states and communities are going no. We want just anybody to enter the country, no borders, anybody to come into the country without any kind of checks at all. And it's like,
and we're no melting pot anymore.
We're not. These are not people who want to assimilate.
No.
They create communities with their own religious beliefs and laws and practices, which are not ours, and they don't want to learn how to speak English. They don't want to, and it's like, we need to really have a big conversation in this country where we talk about all of this, right? And air it out, decide what kind of country we want to become. Are we going to become, Belgium and France, where, the whole culture is absolutely disrespected and put down and turn into an Islamic country? Is that what we want? And because clearly that's the objective of these people, and that's
it is wild. We've let it go on for so long. I mean, the first sanctuary state or sanctuary city kind of set the precedent that it's okay that we can have just state mandated obstruction of federal immigration laws. And so and a lot of these states are doubling down, and especially with under President Trump's second term, they continue to proliferate and kind of metastasize across the nation. And it's horrible what's going on. And so it's got to be nipped in the bud. I do know that my company, right now, we're challenging Maryland's recent Sanctuary Community Trust Act is what it's called, ironically. And there's only 24 sheriffs in Maryland, but 17 of them have signed on to our lawsuit because their hands are tied. They know what's right, but they know that they can't do their jobs. And hopefully it'll set a precedent that other states and these sheriffs will come forward. These elected, duly elected law enforcement officials will come forward and say, hey, you know what? We don't agree with these sanctuary policies either. We can't do our job. So
Right. Well, I commend you for that. I mean, this has to be attacked on many levels. There's just so much, bad information out there, propaganda. People have to decide, what kind of country do you want to live in? You want to have a country where we just let anybody in with any checks, and they come here to create mayhem and bring crime and drug dealing and so on and so forth? Or do we want to protect ourselves, and we want to, protect our children and our families and support
future
them.
generations?
It's funny because when I did put that clip together at the start of the show, there was a gentleman on there who was at Normandy D-Day, and he was talking about the difference with what he grew up in and what we are now living in. I mean, life was a lot different, a lot simpler in many ways because you were more self-sufficient.
Yes.
And if you live in a rural area, and even some suburban areas, a small town, you were self-sufficient. You had less needs of emergency services or whatever services because you took care of yourself and you took care of your neighbor. In today's society, everything's being urbanized. It's now this sustainable living so that you can walk, bus, or bike wherever you need to go. Don't even get me into these driverless cars. I'm sorry. How do you write a ticket on a driverless car?
That's another thing that we're seeing is machines and computer technology sort of taking over everything.
It's iRobot. Astronauts, iRobot.
It is iRobot.
So
You're right.
To stand up for, somebody's got to stand up for humanity, for compassion, for human values, for keeping supporting the divine nature of humanity, and keeping our water safe, our food safe, examining the kind of pharmaceutical drugs and other things that are being designed to put into our bodies. It's a fight, but people don't realize it. And I hope more and more people are waking up because it's everywhere. We're fighting on every front.
It's to the point where people don't even know how to cook their own meal anymore. And that's a shame. Because it's far healthier if you do cook your own meal than opening a box and throwing a little water in it into the microwave. You should see the arguments between my husband, a Cuban and an Italian. Who controls the kitchen? But it's so true because he'll do fast food, and I'm like, thank you, no. I'm not even. You notice after fast food, and they all blamed it on McDonald's. Kids started growing taller, women started to develop sooner, young girls became women sooner.
Oh, sure.
And these chemicals do affect the human body. I mean, throughout the ages, historically, we have grown each generation a little bit taller, a little bit stronger. But that's evolution. But the chemicals they're now putting in there is and God forbid now you start talking about any of the vaccines and how cases of cancer are now showing up. I'm sorry, you're putting something in your body that's not natural. There's got to be a problem.
Of course.
I mean, we've gone all over the gamut here, and I still haven't gotten through half of the stuff I wanted to talk to you about.
McDonald's, the vaccines.
Well, it's everywhere. I mean, we need to we need to fight for our the sanctity of our country and our bodies and our health and all these things. Yeah, we can't let other people control it because they have a different. We don't know. They have a different agenda, and people just assume that they're trying to improve living conditions for everybody. And all you have to do is look around and go, "This is not improving."
No, not at all. And they're destroying us from within, and we're falling for it.
Right.
Yeah, and like little sheep, we just follow along and think, well, they say this is okay, so I'm going to do it because they claim it's okay. And then when it backfires,
who pays the price? We do. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Right. We do. I mean, we can go back to Jonas Salk and his vaccines, but my uncle was paralyzed because of the polio vaccine.
Right.
His best friend was killed because of the polio vaccine, and yet it was the safest ever.
Right.
You're putting something foreign into your body. But then again, George Washington came up with the idea with vaccines during the Revolutionary War, if you remember.
No,
His troops were getting, I believe that's when they were in Jersey for the winter. They were all coming down with scarlet fever or something like that. And he figured out if you took the blood from someone that's been contaminated and shoot it into someone who's not, it creates a natural antibody.
Oh, okay.
George Washington came up with that.
Okay, very smart. Very
smart
clever.
Man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have wanted to be his guinea pig, but I guess it worked out for some.
Well, we've only got about 15 minutes left, and I wanted to get to the point how we started earlier, talking how we're being led into following a certain path of behavior. And we're seeing this, and I look back to our celebration of our bicentennial in '76, compared to what we're doing now, 50 years later. I'm really disappointed. The patriotism. It didn't matter what side of the political aisle we were on. This was God bless America and a country that allows us to think and do whatever the heck we want.
And I think people have forgotten that a lot of us want the same results. We just disagree on policy implementation. It doesn't mean we have to hate one another,
Right. Well, we have to go back to that. We have to talk about our founding fathers. We need to study history, why they were such amazing, brave men, and they fought for to establish the principles that we have grown up with, and why these have been why the United States became sort of the beacon for countries, people all over the world.
Yeah.
How this system has been incredible and productive in so many ways. People forget all this, and therefore, like you say, patriotism has become a bad word. And it's like, okay, we've made mistakes, and we need to acknowledge that, and we need to talk about that as well, and why we've made the mistakes we have. But we're still the hope of civilization, and we have to recognize that we have enemies that hate us and want to destroy the United States. It's not all kumbaya,
And as ironic as it sounds, maybe because we're talking about politics right now, but maybe people should stop politicizing everything. Growing up, I was told, and I'm sure the same thing for you guys, we're not supposed to talk about sex, politics, or religion, and everybody's talking about all three all the time, and intertwining the three all the time. And it's just like, maybe we should just all go outside and touch grass,
Yeah, I think we have to talk about the things that we all agree on, whether we're Democrat or Republican or gay or straight. What are the things we all agree on and that we want to foster, in our children and build our society around? And unfortunately, those conversations are,
cast to the wayside. Yeah. Right. And I think we probably agree on a lot more than the media likes to tell us. They package this stuff up as if we're so divided, and we see these paid, sophisticated, coordinated agitators, these professional agitators that kind of like fuel that divisiveness, and the media only shows those clippets, from their cameras. But we probably agree a lot more with our neighbors than we don't.
I agree. Yeah, I was just did a podcast with a police official in Los Angeles, and they have a hard time doing their job because of all the political noise. And we have to decide, like, do we want safe streets? Do we want, and that doesn't mean that we have to have like a brutal police force. They're constantly trying to improve. They're improving their training, but we have to understand that there are a lot of forces out there, and there's a lot in the media that likes to sensationalize, all these things, and it ends up being destructive.
We were talking about the Kennedy assassination earlier and the conspiracies or other ideas around it. But we recently had the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I had a friend of mine up in Columbia here in South Carolina, where he's actually the chaplain to the state police. And he's got a very varied law enforcement and national security background. And I'm going over the film with him. And I'm screaming at the film because I'm looking at it. The hall wasn't even completely filled yet, and yet they were breaking down the security devices that they had to walk through. They had, I believe it was 54 or 57 different entrances that someone could have come through that were not covered. At least you seal the ones you can't cover, and you cover the ones that you're going to leave open. I'm watching all these things and seeing all the failures where, you're taught when you're out there doing crowd control, your back is to the person you're protecting. You're looking out in the crowd.
Yeah.
And anytime you start to turn around, you've got a boss right behind you screaming at you.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I saw when Reagan was shot that drove me crazy.
Yeah.
All these things and errors that were made, it was as if someone knew that this was going to happen and they're going to just eliminate some barriers. And the one that drove me the nuts the most is that the guy with the cane on goes to check the one room. He confronts the potential shooter, backs away as if nothing's wrong, and leaves him there. Doesn't usher him out into a more secure area.
Yeah.
And then you watch other security officers running away from the scene, rather into it.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm a little odd because the last gunfight I went running into, I was laughing. So what are you gonna do? Just fine.
No, it's like we need to rethink everything. I mean, for example, like I lived in Washington, I've worked in Washington. The White House is, in the age of drones and all this advanced technology, the White House is completely vulnerable.
Yeah.
There are buildings across the street. You can be on the roof. You can have. Why do we? We need to rethink all these things. But we don't. We're very laissez-faire, sloppy. You see intelligence, security failures all the time. You see investigations. Our FBI is not as rigorous as it needs to be. We still don't understand what the hell happened in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
All of these shootings, assassinations, that there are always big questions around them. The Charlie Kirk shooting, that there's still big holes in that. Why? Why can't we have, like, when these things happen, why can't we have rigorous, very professional criminal investigations of what happened?
Because all these political appointees and these three-letter agencies and the pendulum swings, and the Biden administration's FBI covered up things, and the Biden administration's DOJ went after previous sitting presidents, and then the pendulum swings, and we've got, now it's Trump's FBI and Trump's DOJ. What just happens to just the DOJ and the FBI not being so controlled by who's in the White House?
It's a power struggle between agencies. That's the biggest thing that drives me crazy. The agencies struggle for the power instead of finding a way to work together, coordinated, and increase the ability or enhance their powers together.
Right. No. My dad was a career diplomat. He worked for the State Department, and he worked with Democratic administrations and Republican administrations. I mean, the idea was that if you were a public servant, your pledge was to the United States and U.S. values, and nobody and politics didn't enter into it, right? But now everything is politics, and so there are people in different the FBI, the CIA. They're loyal to the Democrats or the Republicans, and they won't cooperate, and they try to undercut investigations. I mean, all of this has to be eliminated. We need to rethink. We need to, focus on our common values and people who go into public service, whether it's the police department or the CIA or the State Department. You're here to serve the American people. You're not here to serve, one party or another, or your own set of beliefs, or your race or your sexual preference. We're one people, and we all share the same values. And if you don't share the same values, go somewhere else.
Yeah. On a personal note, if that was your dad's job, I'm sure you traveled a lot as a little boy.
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of the things you learn, I basically grew up overseas, and one of the things you learn is the United States, despite its flaws, is the most incredible country in the world because of our, the innovation, the freedom that people have to educate themselves the way they want, to believe what they want, to share ideas, and we're in danger of losing all that. And our education system is key. We let that deteriorate as well.
Well, Ralph, we're down to our last few minutes here. Before we head out, you do have your own podcast, don't you?
I do. It's Heroes Behind Headlines. So what I do is I interview kind of people behind the news, police officers, CIA officers, FBI. I've had all kinds of people, human trafficking victims, all different kinds of people, and I just let them. I basically introduce them and let them tell their story. So there's no opinion or politics. It's just what was their experience.
Where can we find that at?
It's on all the Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all the YouTube channels.
Nice.
It comes out once a week.
I did go to your website for the podcast, and I clicked on the X link. That goes to Facebook. So you may want to have your page correct that link.
I gotta fix that. Yeah.
He'll call a guy.
Well, Ralph, I got to get a copy of your book, and I want to compare to put it next to Hans von Spakovsky's. See what how. Yeah, get the two and see how they're similar. Maybe have the two of you on at the same time. That'd be really cool.
I haven't had Hans on in a while. He doesn't work for Heritage anymore, Annie. He works.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to reach out to him. He's one of my favorites.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll love to come on anytime. Yeah.
Well, Ralph, thank you so much. You have been a gentleman. And my grandmother would say, he's a nice Italian boy.
He is.
All right. God bless. Ralph.
God bless.
Take care.
God bless you both. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Great guest.
That's absolutely great. Yes. And actually, we get to finish the show with our closing, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, we can. So, guys, we'll be here next week. It seems like I have an angry agent with me. I kind of screwed up some bookings, but we'll get straight. Yeah, so I kind of messed things up. So I have to correct that with her and get her back on her good side. So I'm going to say good night and God bless. And we'll see you on the other side next week. Take care.
I'm praying for this land I love, America, America, the home of the free. But there are people making plans to change America. They've no respect for her or what matters most to me. That's why I stand for the flag and I kneel at the cross. Mourn for the friends I have loved and lost. And I still believe in God we trust, and the freedom our forefathers granted us. I hope it's not too late to save America. Do you hear our battle cry across America? We've got to rescue her. You know it's up to me and you to see the truth behind their lies. Don't change America. God bless America and the red, white, and blue. That's why I stand for the flag and I kneel at the cross. Mourn for the friends I have loved and lost. And I still believe in God we trust, and the freedom our forefathers granted us. I hope it's not too late to save America. For the friends we have loved and lost, and we still believe in God we trust, in the freedom our forefathers granted us. We know it's not too late to save America. Save America. Let's save America. Together we can save America.